guys, and welcome back to yet another video. If this is your first time here, hello, welcome to the Dream Fam. My name is Haley and I'm an altered states coach, and I help people induce altered states like lucid dreaming and out-of-body experiences for life, transformation, and healing. Today we're going to be talking about something that a majority of us have experienced at some point in our life, most of us anyways, and that is lucid nightmares. So unlike a regular nightmare, you spontaneously realize that it is a nightmare, and most of us try to wake ourselves up when we become lucid within a nightmare. Now, most of these types of nightmares happen during childhood. Have you ever remembered having a really scary dream or a nightmare when you were little and you were trying to wake yourself up and maybe you couldn't wake up? I know that I've had a lot of those types of dreams when I was little. And another way that you can have a spontaneous lucid nightmare is by realizing you're dreaming as the nightmare is ending. So instead of trying to wake yourself up during your nightmare, you realize that you're dreaming as the nightmare ends or as the dream ends in some way. Sometimes this is by us getting physically hurt, sometimes during the highest part of the dream, you know, where it has the most energy, maybe the most suspenseful part of the dream, that's when we wake up. But a lucid nightmare is classified by, you know, having a nightmare, something that generates some fear and discomfort for you, and realizing that you are dreaming as you are in that experience. So we've all heard of lucid dreams and we're trying to induce lucid dreams, right? But not a lot of people talk about lucid nightmares. Now, that is a lucid dream in itself, but it's a little bit different than a regular lucid dream. A nightmare has a lot more energy, as you can tell, and basically why we have nightmares, why we have the emotion of fear usually come up during a nightmare, is because that is an emotion that really creates awareness. We become very alert when we are scared or we are feeling fear. So that's the subconscious's way to kind of get your attention and hopefully get you to look a little bit closer at what is happening within these nightmares. So a nightmare doesn't happen because your subconscious mind is out to get you or anything. It doesn't happen because there is something to truly be scared of. It is more a symbolic representation of what you may be not looking at close enough, or maybe running away from in your, you know, waking life in some way. And so the nightmares are actually the most healing form of dreams. It's basically all of the information, the feelings, the memories, the beliefs that we have suppressed, that we've denied, that we've disowned, or maybe that are just kind of stuck in our body. Emotions get stuck in our body and in our psyche, and they can't be released until they are processed and integrated, right? And so when we have a traumatic experience, for example, at some point in our life, if we didn't fully express our emotions within that moment, you know, whatever it was, then those emotions are kind of suppressed and held in the body, and they can show up in the form of nightmares. That's one way that that energy can show up in our life. And the shadow goes beyond just nightmares. The shadow is, you know, all the aspects of ourselves that we've rejected, denied, disowned. A lot of the emotions that come with the shadow are shame, guilt, regret, anger, sadness even. And when we don't fully express our emotions within the moment that something happens, then that gets kind of stored in the body, and it could play out unconsciously in our waking life, you know, in our behaviors and our thoughts. But it can also show up in our dreams, because we dream in the unconscious, right? And so when we push something into the unconscious mind, it shows up in our dreams. And when something shows up in our dreams, it usually means that that information is being processed and it's ready to be looked at and integrated. So as you can see, running away from a nightmare is actually counterproductive. And this is one reason why we have reoccurring nightmares, is because we are not so willing to look at what the nightmare is trying to show us, because it can feel really uncomfortable, right? But the longer we run away from whatever it is that we are being shown through our dreams, the more times it's going to show up. Again, this is how we can have, recurring nightmares. If we dream of running away from something, or we had a really uncomfortable dream, maybe someone disrespected our boundaries, maybe we were in the path of physical harm, maybe our insecurities played out in our dreams, right? And, it could be anything, whatever makes you feel uncomfortable. It doesn't just have to be fear, right? It can be guilt, it can be shame, it can be regret, anger. When we have those experiences in our dreams, we're being shown that. It's kind of hard to run away from in the moment, right? But we've kind of trained ourselves where we can do that, unconsciously in waking life, just kind of suppress things and keep them repressed, right? And kind of keep them out of our conscious awareness. But when we are in, states of dream, they're kind of shown to us, and we have those memories that we can work with right then and there if we are willing to kind of dive in and see what our inner self is communicating to us. So a nightmare is our shadow in its fullest expression. What we have suppressed, denied, or rejected gets buried in the unconscious mind, where it appears in our dreams. So having a nightmare means that your inner self is asking you to pay attention, to take a closer look, and simply just become aware of the aspects of your hidden self that are showing up in your dreams. And paying attention to the content in our nightmares will help us shift repressed emotions, feelings, and behaviors, and allow us to integrate our shadow. And simply, our shadow is just unintegrated energy. It's nothing necessarily bad or negative, right? It's just things that we haven't fully illuminated, something that we fully haven't, accepted or kind of held space for. And so again, we experience fear in our dreams because our subconscious is trying to help us become more alert, to pay attention to these aspects that are showing up. So if you're having nightmares, first of all, really look at the symbolism by studying the emotions that are present in the dream. And what about the dream made you feel fear, or it made you feel uncomfortable? Because the emotion that's present, you can start to tie that back to waking experiences and figure out when maybe that emotion wasn't fully processed and expressed in your waking life. And if you experience any situations that generate that discomfort in your dreams, you can maybe look at how that could be relating to how you show up in waking life, how you have showed up, or maybe experiences that you have been in that you may have not fully addressed, expressed, or kind of looked at in a more open way without denying or trying to hide how you truly feel, if that makes sense. So our shadow is just repressed emotions, just unintegrated energy. And just by looking at our nightmares and becoming more aware of them, you are working with your shadow. You are working with your nightmares. So when it comes to having a spontaneous lucid nightmare, our instinct is to wake up. Our instinct is to wake up as quick as possible, right? Because it feels uncomfortable. But what if you could induce a lucid nightmare? Either induce a lucid nightmare or just stay in the nightmare that you get lucid in. Now, this is really deep work, actually, because again, we have the aspects within our shadow because we haven't brought awareness to them, right? Because we've kind of been running away from them in one way or another, whether it's conscious or unconscious. So the way to integrate the energy of our shadow is to do the opposite, is to show loving awareness to it, to be able to accept exactly what is being shown to you. So if you can get lucid within a nightmare, try to challenge the instinct to run and just hold space for the dream. You don't even have to do anything. You can just hold space, become conscious, and just be in a meditative state. You can just hold still. You can observe what's happening and notice how the dream changes. Notice how the dream responds to you when you do that. I remember one of the funniest experiences that I've had with a nightmare is I remember I was on this street at night, and I was going through alleyways, and the only light was the street lights, and it was pretty sketchy, and I remember feeling really uncomfortable, and I was actually running away from something. So the dream just started, or I became aware of the dream as I was running away from something, and I knew I was trying to hide from something. I didn't see anything, but I knew there was something I was trying to hide from, and I was on this street, and there were street lights. I remember just passing like my old school, and just like random things from my life were just on this street. And I remember spontaneously getting lucid because I was asking myself, why am I out here at night in the middle of nowhere? You know, like, what am I doing? And I remember just turning around. I stopped running because I asked myself, you know, why am I running? Why am I here? And that's when I realized I was dreaming. And I turned around and I held still, and it was very uncomfortable because I couldn't see anything past, you know, the street lights. It was kind of just a dark, hazy fog. And I remember just holding still, and I see like this shadowy figure running towards me, and I guess it was the figure that was chasing me or something. And of course my mind probably also helped project what it should look like in the moment, you know, because I expected to experience something kind of scary when I turned around, right? And that expectation and belief in the dream is really powerful, and that will actually also shape your experience. So how we expect our shadow to show up is most likely how it's going to show up in our dreams. And I remember this shadowy figure coming up to me, and I remember holding still. I felt really uncomfortable because, again, our instinct is to run away, but I remember just holding space and just standing there, and this shadow figure came up to me and didn't even do anything. It just kind of stood there in front of me as well, and I said, "Why are you chasing me?" And the shadowy figure said, "I don't know, it's your dream." And I thought that was really funny. I didn't expect a response like that, and so I started to ask questions. I kind of like opened up, you know, the connection by just asking questions instead of being in fear. It was more about curiosity. And I realized that this shadowy being was part of my inner child and my anxiety, and a lot of the anxiety and maybe upset that I've suppressed from when I was younger, and that hasn't been fully processed. I was kind of forced to grow up really quickly, and because of that I didn't have a safe space to fully express my emotions when I was younger. And so this was kind of a representation of that part of myself, you know, that had to be kind of suppressed, that childlike nature that had to be pushed down because I had to grow up, you know, quicker than a lot of people. And I remember in this dream, I think I've talked to you guys about this before, literally as we're talking, just as I'm asking these questions, we appear near a coffee shop. And I remember sitting outside. It was one of those little coffee shops where there's tables outside along the street, and it's really nice. You can kind of just hang out. And I remember sitting there with my shadowy aspect and going out for a cup of tea and just talking about my inner child. And, you know, I was able to ask questions and really connect with this part of myself. And something that seemed so scary and so big and so frightening was really just a misunderstood aspect of myself. It's like, wow, I was really projecting a strong judgment onto this part of myself. You know, it was something that I was running away from, that I was really scared to face, but it was just basically like a representation of the little girl inside of me. And I realized, wow, there really is so much that I would not have been able to see before unless I was open, unless I was able to ask questions and get curious, right? And so something that would have been a typical nightmare, I was able to turn it around and make it a really valuable dream by interacting with it and, you know, showing proper awareness to it. Because again, the shadow just wants to be seen and witnessed. These are all parts of yourself that have not been seen or witnessed. And so just flipping the script in that way, you'll notice that the dream will shift, your mind will shift, your emotional state around these topics that you dive into will start to shift when you pay attention to your dreams and the symbolism within your dreams, because it's your subconscious talking to you, it's your subconscious guiding you, it's your subconscious leading you to where you need to go to be the most fulfilled and really do the work that's going to bring you the most joy and happiness. So these dreams are really the most healing form of dreams, and they allow us to unlock our highest potential that we didn't even know existed by being able to witness this part of ourselves. And by witnessing this part of ourselves that makes us feel uncomfortable, we'll then be primed to witness our hidden potential, our infinite, the infinite possibility within our life, our hidden talents. And this is called the golden shadow, which is, all of our positive traits that have been denied, suppressed, disowned, or haven't even been looked at or unlocked yet. So by opening yourself up to the darker aspects of your shadow, just misunderstood aspects of your shadow of shame, guilt, fear, anger, you're able to hold space and even embody a lot easier these positive traits that we see in others that we wish to embody, or things like that. So it's really, really powerful doing this work. And if you can get lucid in a nightmare, I highly recommend just becoming aware, holding space, asking questions if you can, but at the least just being present in the nightmare and just observing what is happening, just having that loving awareness and without judgment as well. So just holding that space in your dreams is really you holding space for all parts of yourself. So this is a super powerful practice, and again, I don't feel like people talk about lucid nightmares too much, but it's so powerful, and I want you guys to know that there's nothing to be scared of when it comes to this work. And if you want to start working with your shadow in your dreams and you're not getting lucid in a nightmare, just make the intention to call your nightmare or your shadow into your dreams before you go to bed. It's as simple as just saying something like, "Shadow, come to me, I'm ready to meet my shadow," or, calling upon the energy of your nightmare before you fall asleep. That's a great way to incubate a dream about your shadow or your nightmare and start to kind of do the work. And even if you don't get lucid, by the way, you can still do work around your nightmare. I would definitely recommend writing it down in your dream journal, writing down the emotions that were present in the dream, the main themes that were present in the dream, and maybe look at the deeper symbolism that is in there and ask yourself, what is the subconscious trying to highlight for me here? I love you guys. I hope that this video was helpful. If you're wanting to dive even deeper into lucid dreaming shadow work, I just did a masterclass on lucid dreaming shadow work, and it's packed full of information on how to witness your shadow, how to start to work with your shadow, journal prompts to uncover aspects of your shadow, and then how to explore that within the non-lucid and the lucid dream state. So if that is something that interests you, let me know. I am going to be putting all of the masterclasses in the Dreams Up series in my link tree, so it's the first link in the description, and once you click on that, you will see a little tab that says masterclasses, and that's where this entire series is going to be. So I'm in the process of uploading all of those classes that I've been doing, because I really have been doing a lot of them. But if you have any questions about any classes that aren't up there yet, then just shoot me a message or an email and I'll send you the link so you can sign up for those classes. Alright guys, I hope that this video is helpful. Again, if you're not subscribed to the channel and you like the content I create, then please consider subscribing so you don't miss out on any future content. And again, if you have any questions about, my courses, classes, or the one-on-one mentorships that I do, then definitely let me know and check out the description below. I love you guys so much. Thanks for joining in this video, and as always, I'm sending you endless love and endless lucidity.